Hello, this is Maggie Hernandez Knight, welcoming you to the Mariposa Rise Metamorphosis podcast. The format of this podcast is a Q&A, where I'll be sharing both client questions that have already been answered and listener-submitted questions sent to expand@mariposarise.com. So you've had it, you're through, it's quits, it's over, and now what? I want to paint a really good picture for you so you understand what I'm talking about. Oh, I lost my voice there. Let's say that you have a sibling, and typically siblings, of course, we love them, we hate them. We're in the quintessential love-hate relationship with our own brothers or sisters, and even sometimes couples can go through the same thing, as we know. And we can at one point recognize that the person has caused us or is causing us a lot of pain. And let's say that that person is being overly pushy, and you feel like they don't let you make your own decisions, that it's their way or the highway. And maybe it's not that extreme, but they could just be a person who takes initiative and is always willing to offer a solution or take the initiative to have you both do something, and you're not really saying what you want. And so you feel like you're being railroaded. And on the other end, the person may feel like they're being judged, that they're always being told what they could or should do better, and being made to feel like they aren't enough. And at one point, one or both of these siblings, hypothetical siblings, could just say, I'm done, I'm through, I can't take this anymore. But the interesting thing is that the cutting off of that person, especially when it's somebody close, doesn't necessarily lead to better feelings. We often transform what we feel to something different, but it's still equally painful. So the cutting off of another person isn't necessarily the solution, in my opinion. And it's typical because we tend to go, I'm saying we humans, we tend to go from one extreme to another in my observation. First, you may be really shy, and then you go, to the other extreme, become like really, really, outgoing in a way that just doesn't even seem natural and normal for you. You could be like squeaky clean and not drink or smoke anything, and then you're like hanging out at bars every night and getting drunk and etc., etc. So you get the picture, okay? The ideal thing to do is to come somewhere in the middle, because the truth is, if we come in the middle at some point in our relationships with other people, then the need to call it quits may not ever come up, because you're able to then discuss the issues ahead of time before they become something that causes an eruption. So I want to recap that just to be very clear. We can be in relationships with people that we find very difficult, and I like to say that the situation is difficult. Maybe it's not the person, but the behaviors, the things they may say, etc. You find them difficult or off-putting, whatever it is that you feel, and you hold it in for a long, long, long time, to the point where there is extreme frustration and resentment build up. And at one point, you can no longer take it, and so you crack and you say, that's it, enough, done, you are out of my life. Now, what I'm saying is that if you lose the relationship, you can turn around and point a finger at that person, but the reality is, I feel that the heavy weight of the fault is really on you. Ouch. Because you were not the person who stood up and said, oh, I have a boundary that you're crossing, and this is making me very uncomfortable. and I need to talk to you about it, and we need to address this. Because people are going to be who they are. We can't expect people to follow our mold or to be like us, because we're all different. We're all unique individuals. And so we have to be aware that the person needs a little bit of room to be who they are without our interference. And that if we have clear boundaries, we know when people are crossing them, and we can say, hey, this is happening between you and I, and it's making me very uncomfortable, and I would like us to figure out how we can work this through. If we do that at some point, which to me is healthy, right? You know you're healthy when you're able to have that kind of conversation with someone. And when you have that healthy conversation, you can resolve the issues, and then you never get to the point where you feel like you need to make a break. Unless, when you talk to the person, you realize that there is no compromise, that they're unwilling and unbending. They're not, willing or able to adjust themselves a little bit to make you happy. Then maybe at that point you do need to make a break. But the break will be something that's thought out very well, so that you know you're making a clear decision based on your needs and your wants and your clear boundaries, and not a pent-up emotions that are just erupting and you're finally saying enough. So what do you do then when you've gotten to that point and now there's a loss of a relationship, and the bad feelings that were present before have now been transformed to different types of bad feelings? And so you see the cutting off didn't fix the problem. So now what do? I believe if you're able to look at yourself, your contribution in the difficult relationship, and you're able then to speak to the person and let them know what is bothering you, what you're feeling, what behavior that they are sharing with you is making you uncomfortable, then you may be able to begin to repair the relationship a little bit. I've gone through this many times in my life in different types of situations, and yes, there have been losses of relationships, work situations, friendships, lovers, etc. But then you learn that if you value the people around you, you have to be willing to press up against your comfort zone and speak up. And I think that's it. So that's all for now. Be well y hasta la próxima, mariposas. P.S. Sorry for all the background noise. I am determined to break the habit of doing things with such perfection that they guzzle up all of my time and energy. So there you have it. Lots of natural background noise.